My coverage at CES is being sponsored by Dbrand. You know, that overpriced electronic tape that just looks cool. If you guys are not familiar with Dbrand, check out the link in the description down below. So this year I wanted to do something a little different at CES. I wanted to kind of focus more on the filmmaking side of this consumer electronics show. We'll go ahead and kick things off with the Panasonic S1 and S1R. So I love the size. I feel with these mirrorless cameras, they're going a lot smaller, and I get it. I mean, that's great for travel and all. So I like that 1DX style of feel where it's a little bit more heavy and hefty. One thing that kind of bothered me a little bit is this camera is scheduled to be released in March, but they showed me a dummy model. They don't have like a working prototype, which kind of sucked because I didn't really get to try it out and see all of these cool features that they were talking about. Now, one thing that Panasonic did mention to me is that this camera, believe it or not, is actually not geared towards filmmakers or people that are going to be using video. They said this is strictly mainly for photographers. It just happens to have some pretty killer video features. So what are these killer video features that they're talking about? Number one, it's able to shoot. Remember, this is a full frame camera that can shoot 60 frames per second in 4K. Now, that's pretty impressive. They didn't really talk about Kodak, so we don't know if it's gonna be doing this internally at 10-bit or 8-bit, so we don't know too much about that. But my guess is probably gonna have 10-bit, possibly even externally. It will have two recording media, so it'll have XQD and also an SD card. So not sure if you'll be able to do a dual recording with it, but it does have two card slots. So whether that happens or not, I guess it's to be determined. One thing that they really were like bragging about was the viewfinder. They told me it is the highest resolution viewfinder on any camera that's available today. And they kept telling me that it's so impressive that once you look through it, again, I didn't get to see it because it was a dummy model, which was kind of a bummer, but I do want to check that out once the camera is released. So there's two models. There's the S1, which will feature a 24 megapixel sensor, and then there's the S1R, which will have a 47 megapixel sensor, which is pretty exciting to see the type of quality that we should be able to get out of this. Speaking of quality, so on the photography side, they have this feature, which is an HLG, also known as HDR, and they kind of demoed it. They had these televisions there that they were showing some of the pictures that they've taken with this camera, which looked very impressive. So on the photography side, it looks pretty promising. You have eye autofocus, a lot of the features that you already see in mirrorless cameras. So again, photography side should be pretty exciting, but I think for me, seeing this camera and seeing where they're going is kind of exciting because like they said, this is not for video guys, it's not for filmmakers. The GH line, specifically, they told me, is for filmmakers. So what this means is the GH6 should have some promising features, so kind of excited about that. Now, speaking of video features, one of the coolest things I saw here at CES was this partnership between Atomos and Nikon, or Nikon, depending on where you live in this world. They have now unlocked being able to film or record in ProRes RAW through HDMI. That is mind-blowing. Like, this wasn't even possible as of a week ago, as far as we know. This is amazing. The fact that this is now a possibility is just gonna open up this whole avenue in the camera industry, in the camera world, being able to get full raw recording from a mirrorless camera through HDMI. And we're not talking about watered down RAW, we're talking full control of ISO, white balance, and they actually had a working prototype, thank you, at least somebody had a working prototype, so we were able to mess around, play around with it, which is kind of neat. It was really cool to see. They don't have an actual release date, but again, the fact that you can get raw recording from a mirrorless camera is just gonna open up a whole avenue of just filmmaking, so I'm really excited about that. So something else that I thought was pretty cool was at Kodak. So they have this instant print camera, which that alone is actually really cool. So you take a picture, it prints it out, but what's cool is that you're able to embed a video, a 30-second video. It's awesome. So basically it's like one of the best AR experiences that I've seen put to use. So you hold the picture out and then you open up the application on the phone. Now mind you, if anybody has the app installed on their phone, they can actually see this video footage, which is really neat. So one way that I was thinking that was pretty cool is during the holidays or just a special event or birthday, you can send a physical copy of a picture to, let's say, a family member, and then if they load the app, they can see like a nice little message. I don't know, that gap between analog and digital. So I just think that's a really neat way of sharing an experience with like friends and family that really hasn't been done before. So kudos to Kodak, because I really like that. Now, it wouldn't be CES if there wasn't any vaporware type news. Now, Sharp apparently has released an 8K mirrorless camera that's supposed to cost under $5,000. I don't know if it's all vaporware or whatever, but it was not a working model. We don't know really anything about it. And supposedly, at NAB, we should know more information. If it does come to fruition, I guess that's kind of cool because it's just gonna push camera manufacturers. But in any case, that was basically it over here at CES that I thought was kind of exciting to kind of report back to you guys. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. My name is Armando. Thanks again for watching, and you will catch me in the next one. Adios.